This video is designed to help you start a daycare business. At the end of the video, you'll find a valuable gift. It's a daycare business plan that you can download, and will lay down for you, step by step, everything you need to know to start a successful daycare business of your own. If you are new to this channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button for more videos like this. The first step to starting a daycare is to contact your state daycare licensing agency. You have to call your state and see what is required of you. Every state is different and has different guidelines. You have to weigh pros and cons and see if you can make it work in your home. Not all states require licenses, but you almost always need to complete a registration, depending on how many children you will be caring for. Daycare.com gives a comprehensive overview of each state's licensing requirements, so one of your first tasks will be determining what kind of licensing your state requires, and how many children you plan to care for at once. Many states only require licensing if you're caring for 5 or more children, so perhaps you'll choose to avoid the licensing process and keep your enrollment low. Here are some examples of possible licensing requirements. Physical space, a minimum square footage per child, both indoor and outdoor, depending on age. Health requirements, annual medical examinations for staff and children, immunization records. Fire regulations, a posted evacuation plan in each room, and regular, documented fire drills. Education or training requirements, certifications in early childhood education, ongoing professional development for staff. Once you have read the licensing requirements carefully, you might want to make an appointment with licensing specialists to ask questions, and review the procedure for obtaining your license, if you need one. It might be helpful for them to visit your home, as well. Identify existing services. Now that you have reviewed the licensing regulations in your state, and determined if starting a daycare is a feasible option for you, it's time to look at other daycares in your area. This will be your competition and colleagues. Compile a list of daycares in your area with the following information: enrollment numbers, how many children do they care for, ages of enrollment, hours, tuition cost, location. This information will make it easier for you to decide these things when opening your home daycare. Ask yourself, where is the gap between community need and existing services? What needs aren't being met? If there is a saturation in your area, of facilities offering full-time care for 2 to 5-year-olds during traditional, weekday hours, then maybe your home daycare could offer very early morning, overnight, weekend, or evening care, or specifically care for infants up to 2 years old. By identifying the existing daycares in your area, you can determine what your community needs and what will make your business successful. Where is the gap between community need and existing services? What needs aren't being met? If there is a saturation in your area, of facilities offering full-time care for 2 to 5-year-olds, during traditional, weekday hours, then maybe your home daycare could offer very early morning, overnight, weekend, or evening care, or specifically care for infants up to 2 years old. By identifying the existing daycares in your area, you can determine what your community needs, and what will make your business successful. In addition to knowing the competition, there are other benefits to knowing the other daycare providers in your area. To obtain information about other centers in your area, you can contact your county licensing office, spend some time searching online, or even just browse through the yellow pages. Create a business plan. You have a business idea and now it's time to turn that idea into a plan. This requires some specific decision-making and research to nail down the details of your daycare. Work out the logistics. Here are some logistical questions to get you started. How many children will you care for? Many states have strict rules about the maximum number of children, of certain ages allowed in a home daycare. Start out small, it's important to get yourself used to it. If you start out smaller, you'll be more successful. What is the minimum and maximum age for enrollment at your daycare? What time will you open your doors and what time do children need to be picked up? There are a lot of options around timing, and it's a good idea to check out your competition before making this decision. Some non-traditional options include after-school care. This also opens up the ages of children you can accommodate, to include school-age kids, drop-in or demand care, or part-time care. Will you provide food or do children need to bring snacks and lunches? If you will provide food, check out the Child and Adult Care Food Program, CACF, a food cost reimbursement program available to home daycares. Will you be hiring more staff? What about an accountant or bookkeeper? You need strong administrative skills. A lot of these answers will be provided for you by your regulations, but some of them will be entirely up to your personal preference, and the limitations of your space. The next part of the video is not specific to a daycare business. Nevertheless, this knowledge is essential for success in the daycare business, as well as in any other business. Ignore it at your own peril. Operating a successful daycare business will depend on the following 4 conventions. 1. A practical plan, with a solid foundation. 2. Dedication, and willingness to sacrifice, to reach your goal. 3. Technical skills. 4. Basic knowledge of management, finance, record keeping and market analysis. As a new owner, you will need to master these skills and techniques if your business is to be successful. Finding a niche. Small businesses range in size from a manufacturer, with many employees, and millions of dollars in equipment, to the lone window washer, with a bucket and a sponge. Obviously, the knowledge and skills, required for these 2 extremes, are far apart, but for success they have one thing in common. Each has found a business niche, and is filling it. The most critical problems you will face, in your early planning, will be to find your niche, and determine the feasibility of your idea. Get into the right business at the right time, is very good advice, but following that advice, may be difficult. Many entrepreneurs plunge into a business venture, so blinded by the dream, that they fail to thoroughly evaluate its potential. Is your business idea feasible? Before you invest time, effort, and money, the following exercise will help you separate sound ideas from those bearing a high potential for failure. Identify and briefly describe the business you plan to start. Identify the product or service you plan to sell. Answering yes to any of the following 3 questions means you are on the right track. A negative answer to all of them means the road ahead could be rough. 1. Does your product or service satisfy an unfilled need? 2. Will your product or service serve an existing market in which demand exceeds supply? 3. Will your product or service be competitive, based on its quality, selection, price, or location? Market analysis. For a small business to be successful, the owner must know the market. To learn the market, you must analyze it, a process that takes time and effort. You don't have to be a trained statistician to analyze the marketplace, nor does the analysis have to be costly. Analyzing the market is a way to gather facts about potential customers, and to determine the demand for your product or service. The more information you gather, the greater your chances of capturing a segment of the market. Know the market before investing your time and money in any business venture. The following questions will help you collect the information necessary to analyze your market, and determine if your product or service will sell. This brief exercise will give you a good idea of the kind of market planning you need to do. An answer of no to any of the questions indicates a weakness in your plan, so do your research until you can answer each question with a yes. 1. Do you know who your customers will be? 2. Do you understand their needs and desires? 3. Do you know where they live? 4. Will you be offering the kind of products or services that they will buy? 5. Will your prices be competitive in quality and value? 6. Will your promotional program be effective? 7. Do you understand how your business compares with your competitors? 8. Will your business be conveniently located for the people you plan to serve? 9. Will there be adequate parking facilities for the people you plan to serve? Planning your startup. The following questions are grouped according to function. They are designed to help you prepare for opening day. Merchandise. Have you decided what items you will sell or produce, or what services you will provide? Have you made a merchandise plan, based upon estimated sales, to determine the amount of inventory you will need to control purchases? Have you found reliable suppliers, who will assist you in the startup? Have you compared the prices, quality, and credit terms of suppliers? Business records. Are you prepared to maintain complete records of sales, income and expenses, accounts payable, and receivables? Have you determined how to handle payroll records, tax reports, and payments? Do you know what financial reports should be prepared, and how to prepare them? Finances. A large number of small businesses fail each year. There are a number of reasons for these failures, but one of the main reasons is insufficient funds. Too many entrepreneurs try to start and operate a business without sufficient capital, money. To avoid this dilemma, you can review your situation by analyzing the following 3 questions. 1. How much money do you have? 2. How much money will you need to start your business? 3. How much money will you need to stay in business? In order to answer the second question, how much money will you need to start your business? You need to prepare an estimate of all your startup costs. Here is a list of items you may need to take into account. Note that this list is for a retail business. Items will vary for service, construction, manufacturing or online firms. Decorating and remodeling, fixtures and equipment, installing fixtures and equipment, services and supplies, beginning inventory cost, legal, professional fees, licenses and permits, telephone utility deposits, insurance, signs, advertising for opening, unanticipated expenses. Now, the answer to the third question, how much money will you need to stay in business? Must be divided into two parts, immediate costs, and future costs. From the moment the door to your new business opens, a certain amount of income may come in. However, this income should not be projected in your operating expenses. You will need enough money available to cover costs for at least the first 3 months of operation. The following list will help you project your operating expenses on a monthly basis. Typical expenses for 1 month may include your living costs, employee wages, rent, advertising, supplies, utilities, insurance, taxes, maintenance, delivery, transportation, miscellaneous. Now sum up the total estimated monthly expenses and multiply it by 3. This is the amount of cash you will need to cover operating expenses for 3 months. Deposit this amount in a savings account before opening your business. Use it only for those purposes listed in the above list, because this money will ensure that you will be able to continue in business during the crucial early stages. By adding the total startup costs to the total expenses for 3 months, you can learn what the estimated costs will be to start and operate your business for 3 months. By subtracting the totals of the lists from the cash available, you can determine the amount of additional financing you may need, if any. Now you will need to estimate your operating expenses for the first year after startup. The first step in determining your annual expenses is to estimate your sales volume, month by month. Next, determine the cost of sales. You may want to use a spreadsheet to do this. After startup, the primary source of revenue in your business will be from sales, but your sales will vary from month to month because of seasonal patterns and other factors. It is important to determine if your monthly sales will produce enough income to pay each month's bills. An estimated cash flow projection will show if the monthly cash balance is going to be subject to such factors as the following: failure to recognize seasonal trends, excessive cash taken from the business for living expenses, too rapid expansion, and slow collection of accounts if credit is extended to customers. Conclusion: if you have carefully answered all the questions in this video, you have seriously thought about your goal. However, there may be some things you may feel you need to know more about. Owning and running a daycare business is a continuous learning process. Research your idea, and do as much as you can, yourself, but don't hesitate to seek help from people who can tell you what you need to know. As we conclude this video, it's time you get your free daycare business plan gift. Go to the description below this video to get it now. It is completely free, no strings attached. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and hit the subscribe button for more videos like this.